What's happening in Palestine is a genocide.
It's all over social media.
The genocide in Gaza is not just about Palestinian liberation.
There is a genocide happening right now.
The genocide.
That amid the Israel-Hamas war, there's a genocide in Gaza.
Use of words is incredibly important.
Khaled al-Sabawi, a Canadian Palestinian, says the Israeli military has killed more than 50 of his relatives.
As they were seeking shelter in the east of Gaza, Israel dropped a bomb on them, exterminating them.
Relentless bombing, staggering civilian deaths. Khaled says people are targeted.
Israel has completely destroyed the civilian infrastructure in Gaza. It has targeted churches, mosques, schools, hospitals, and universities. This is what genocide in real time is like. So it has been an absolute horror story.
Genocide is a crime committed with the intent to destroy a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group. Keyword: intent.
To erase a people, to remove their religion, their culture, their existence off the land. Recently, a group of almost 50 scholars that are globally recognized as expert criminologists in state crime have said Israel is entering its final stages of genocide in Gaza.
But Israel says it is not intentionally targeting civilians. It's responding to the October 7 Hamas attack, killing over 1,000 Israelis.
Hamas uses their children and families and civilians as human shields. We don't do that.
For Khaled, though, statements like this raise alarm.
You must remember what Amalek has done to you, says our Holy Bible.
Netanyahu using a biblical reference to Amalek, an ancient enemy of Israelites. The Minister of Defense.
אין חשמל, אין מזון, אין מים, אין דלק. הכל סגור. אנחנו נלחמים בחיות אדם ואנחנו נוהגים בהתאם.
Or another official early in the conflict, saying they're focused on maximum damage in Gaza.
إسرائيل فرضت إغلاق كامل على غزة، بدكم جهنم راح تحصلوا على جهنم.
It might be the most powerful and eye-catching or ear-catching word in the English language.
UBC Okanagan political science professor Adam Jones has spent decades following the conflict in the region.
And I can't remember a time when there has been such a prominent use of accusations of genocide and polarization of the debate around it.
A genocide is internationally recognized once tried in international court. Only 3 have been so far, like the Khmer Rouge in Cambodia in the late 70s, the 1994 Rwandan genocide, and 1995's Srebrenica massacre in Bosnia. International law says countries can defend themselves.
We are prepared to defend our citizens against any threat.
It is Hamas who is responsible for the loss of Israeli and Gazan lives alike.
They have no desire to harm the population, says Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Michael Mostyn is CEO of Jewish advocacy group B'nai B'rith Canada.
Every word has a definition, every word has a meaning. But if you use the term genocide towards what is currently taking place in Gaza from a war that Hamas started, you risk losing the use of that term because it becomes meaningless.
Michael says it's clear Hamas has genocidal intent, that their charter says Israel will continue to exist until Islam obliterates it.
Despite how terrible the situation is on the ground, Israel is acting in a way that has a military objective and a defensive objective, that we cannot allow this terrorist group to continue to exist.
With civilian deaths in Gaza so high, Adam worries things could get worse.
We're always looking for warning signs and for early evidence of what might be a developing genocidal dynamic.
And presumably, even if an event doesn't meet the threshold for genocide, it doesn't mean that it's not catastrophic.
This is such an important point to make. We don't need to arrive even at a provisional finding of genocide in an ongoing case in order for us to take it extremely seriously.
No matter where you stand on this issue, all eyes are on what's unfolding inside Gaza and Israel. So where does Canada stand? Canada officially recognizes 9 genocides, including the Armenian genocide, the Holocaust, the Uyghurs in China, and
Government must recognize what happened in Canada's Indian residential schools as genocide.
After a unanimous, non-binding vote in the House last year, the residential school system.
Our position on the Middle East is absolutely crystal clear. There's a humanitarian catastrophe ongoing right now.
And as a longtime ally to Israel, Canada is unlikely to take such a step to describe what's happening in Gaza. Earlier this month, Minister of Foreign Affairs Melanie Joly said Canada will support investigations into Israeli military conduct.
There are other words that may be able to use for the disaster that's taking place on the ground, but genocide is not one of them. When we hear people using this term, the term of genocide, and saying that anyone who supports Israel supports genocide, well, people are going to get turned against the Jewish community. So not surprising that we see a spike in anti-Semitism.
In war, everyone suffers. Words carry the weight of their pain.
Why is it so important to get these words right? Why is it important to you to use terms like genocide?
When a society is experiencing a genocide and another one doesn't want to acknowledge the reality that they're experiencing, it dehumanizes them. It strips them away from their humanity.
And as tragedy grows, so too do calls to investigate any and all crimes committed during this conflict.